All right, thank you. I got this mic, so I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah, can you all hear me? All right, cool, great. So welcome to the talk, Inclusive Design. Oh, I gotta click it. That's me. All right, welcome to the talk, Inclusive Design for AR and VR. This was actually a talk at Google I/O I did this year, 40-minute talk condensed to 10 minutes, so it's very dense. Apologize for that. And we're trying to get over as many design principles and specific techniques you can use for your apps to make them more accessible and to increase your user base. So my name is Ran, and like I said, I'm a software engineer on the AR core team, Google's augmented reality SDK. And I've been using a wheelchair for 2 years now, and I'm motivated in promoting accessibility here at Google, but also really honored to be able to share with you guys my passion in making the immersive computing space more accessible. Because this is a very new area and super exciting to be here, because the stuff we work on today will be defining the future of computing forever in how people will use it and who will be able to use it. So let's dive into this. Quick recap, what is virtual and augmented reality? I know we've heard these terms before. We like to think about it as virtual reality can take you anywhere, so bottom of the ocean would be a nice place to go. And augmented reality can bring anything to you, like the lion from Wizard of Oz. Here are some of the virtual reality headsets we've worked on. And this is our augmented reality app Playground that just launched this week, I think. When I was working on this, I took so many selfies with Iron Man. All right, what is inclusive design? I know today and yesterday you've heard a lot about inclusion, so just quick definition. We think of inclusive design as being mindful in the choices you make. Don't accidentally exclude someone by lack of thought. And in this talk, we're going to focus specifically on accessibility, because I think it's one of the most tangible lenses for inclusive design, and especially applicable for augmented and virtual reality, where the space is very physical and has a lot of assumptions about people's abilities. Unlike mobile and desktop experiences, there's a lot more to consider. So why is accessibility so important? It's the right thing to do, but it's also a potentially really big business for you. So let's go over some stats. There are more than 1 billion people in the world with some form of disability. 1 out of every 5 Americans will have some form of disability in their lifetime. There are more people with color blindness than there are people in America. And accessibility is not a binary. It's not being disabled or not disabled. It's a whole spectrum. You don't have to be just blind or have perfect vision. You can be nearsighted. A lot of people are nearsighted. And you also have to consider the situational and temporary impairments, like breaking your leg. I may be sitting here in a wheelchair today, but you're also sitting with me. We face the same situation and the same challenges. So when you solve for accessibility, you're solving for a general usability. So one place to get started is learning from the trusted resources. The Able Gamers charity has created this great 45-page comprehensive PDF called Includification, and you can grab it at includification.com. If anything out of this talk, just remember that link, because a lot of the things I'm about to brief over are inspired from these guides. All right, let's dive into some specifics on what works today. So if you're building an augmented or virtual reality app on Android, a lot of the things work right out of the box through the Android accessibility options. So we have color and contrast adjustments for color blindness or people with visual impairments. We also have mono audio settings that mixes the left and right audio tracks into a single track and plays them through both ears. And magnification. It works really well for AR. You just triple tap on the screen and it zooms in. It's like in those crime shows where you have the enhance on the picture. It's like superhero powers for reality. And switch access and talkback. Let's see. Yeah. So switch access allows you to go through different icons on the screen using a single switch. Stephen Hawking used his cheek muscle to activate that switch, and use another switch to select which one you want. Talkback just reads aloud these menu items for you. That's where you come in, though. To enable switch access and talkback, you need to make sure your Android app is compatible with the Android accessibility APIs. but there's more that you can do. So here's some opportunities for actions. I'm going to go over the 4 categories of disability: the mobility and dexterity impairments, visual impairments, auditory impairments, and cognitive impairments. And through each one, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to make virtual and augmented reality apps more accessible. So first, we're going to go over mobility and dexterity impairments. All right. So some people have difficulties rotating around in the physical world. It's hard for me to reach behind me when I'm playing Skyrim VR, for example. And what you can do is enable rotations through the controller. On the right there is Google Earth VR. And there's this nice way to rotate the world around you by using the controller to drag it across. And there's also a button to fly around. Making your apps more accessible for people with difficulties reaching up high or down low. On the right there is a screenshot from, what's it called? Job Simulator. It's a game where you can do different jobs and pretend to be a chef or something. And in there, they have the secret shorter human mode where you flip on the switch and everything shrinks down. So it's like you're a giant inside a dollhouse and everything's a lot more reachable. You can also think of other creative ways to do this, such as like force grabbing things. But generally, try to minimize reaching up high or down low. And specifically for mobile AR interactions, we've discovered that making sure that the virtual objects are scalable, movable, and orientable is really important. So people can place it what works best for them. If your stormtrooper is like 100 meters away, you can't really do much with it. Speaking of which, you want to make sure your tap targets are always large enough. So if your stormtrooper is like 1 pixel large, there's no way you can tap on it. So make sure the minimum tap target size is at least thumb-sized. And also allow for alternative gestures. So instead of dragging the stormtrooper into the scene, allow for users to be able to just tap on it to add it to the scene as well. These kind of multimodal affordances are really important just generally, having different ways to do the same thing. So for visual impairments, having voiceovers in addition to text is really important. And also supporting large text options and making sure you have good contrast. As you can see, when the contrast gets worse, it's just kind of hard to discern what the words are. And for color blindness, again, having multimodal affordances of different ways to convey the information. So don't just use color. Also use icons and textures as well. And for hearing impairments, once again, multimodal affordances of captions and narrations for these cutscenes. You can get creative in virtual reality. You can have like little speech bubbles that pop up off the side of someone's head to make sure you convey the text as well. And for 360 videos is really interesting. YouTube supports captions by default, but some 360 video players don't. So you might want to hard code or bake these captions into the video itself. Here's an example of a 3-sided caption, so you can always see it no matter which way you turn. You can also do 4-sided captions, it's popular as well. And finally, for cognitive impairments, having an intuitive UI is helpful for everybody. And having a well thought out tutorial will increase your adoption rates so that people can easily pick up this new concept. And having difficulty adjustments is crucial as well. So we've seen stuff, instead of doing just easy, medium, hard, you can name it like story mode, balanced, and challenging. These are some different ways to put it. And finally, maybe an auto pass function. So when someone gets stuck on a level for a long time, suggest being able to pass that level for free. At least that way your users will be able to experience the full content rather than get stuck and give up. In conclusion, these are the key points. Make sure you support the Android accessibility APIs so that your apps can use the switch access spec. Can you still hear me? You can still hear me. Think about mobility. It's okay. I'll grab it after. Think about mobility, visual, auditory, and cognitive impairments. And finally, don't forget, go to includification.com and take a look at that 45-page PDF. You'll find something interesting in there. Thank you for your time.